went live. Okay.
Highest height, it's good. The woman's love most understood. Upside is thought for all to see. Rails, majesty, Yahweh.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
For live.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
It's live.
Are you ready?
Live
Are you
talk.
ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Live talk.
For the word of the day, the knowledge and the wisdom will increase your faith. Are you ready for live talk?
Yeah.
Because it's about time to say it all. Are you ready for the word of the day? The knowledge and the wisdom will increase your faith. Are you ready for live talk?
Yeah.
Because it's about time to say it all.
Live talk. Live talk. God, living in vital energy, the universal language spirituality. Living in vital energy, the universal language spirituality. We going all the way live with it. With live talk, increase your mentality, put away carnality, and increase your spirituality. Let's go. Live talk.
Are you ready?
This live talk.
Are you ready?
Live talk.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready
Live talk.
for the word of the day? The knowledge and the wisdom will increase your faith. Are you ready for live talk? Because it's about time to say it all. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
This live
Are you
talk.
ready?
Live
Are you
talk.
ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready? All right. Are we on? All right. Greetings and welcome to Live Talk. I am your host, Arthur Yermite, alongside my co-host, the minister, Samuel.
Hey, welcome back to Live Talk.
All right. Before we get into anything, let's go to our general statement and disclaimer. General statement. Live Talk is proudly powered by TBS Goodwill, Builders of the Highway Foundation, and Men of Purpose. Together, we're bringing about awareness to the everyday challenges facing individuals, communities, and our nation. We tell our stories, listen to yours, and always respect different perspectives. Want to share your voice? Email us at livetalkorl@gmail.com to be a guest, or if you would like to contribute to our mission, purpose, go to livetalkorl.com to give a donation. Disclaimer. Information provided during this event and others to come does not constitute the official opinion of Live Talk or its affiliate entities. It is strongly recommended that viewers seek independent expert advice regarding any topics discussed, as legal requirements differ significantly across jurisdictions and are subject to frequent changes. If you have questions or concerns, you can always email us at livetalkorl@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Facebook and or Instagram at Live Talk Orlando.
We're not. Okay. That's right. We go pre-record.
Okay. All right. Just make sure you give me a thumbs. All right. So we want to make sure that we get that out of the way. Our general statement disclaimer. And I know the minister, you was running. It's storming out there, minister.
Yeah, we got some serious weather going on out here. The rain is definitely a blessing, but at the same time, the infrastructure on the roads, when you get a lot of rain, 4 lanes turn into 1.
It sure does, and that slows up traffic.
Everybody goes to the center because the outsides are up there. So that we're gonna hope that the city and the county governments continue to work expeditiously before we get a hurricane.
Right. They said there's supposed to be some weather come through this way this weekend. Hopefully that clears up. But just running a little bit behind because of the weather. However, we are back. We are live. So, hey, it's always it's a good thing to be live. But before we get into anything, we always want to just give you a rundown of the show today. And first and foremost, we have a word of the day by the minister. Right after that, we'll go to a short commercial break, and then we'll come back with our main topic. And today we'll be talking with a dear brother. He had, I would like to say, he done went through the shadow of walked through the shadow of death, and now he has transitioned. So that topic is beyond the walls, rebuilding life on the outside. So we'll be kind of going into that. And then right after that, we'll go to another commercial break, and then we'll come back with some real news. We'll conclude with a quote or a reading from the host. Haven't decided as of yet. But with no further ado, Minister, what is the word of today?
Okay, today, the word of the day is going to be healing. Healing. And healing, by definition, is the process of making or becoming sound or whole again. Healing is to heal, to make free from injury or disease. Heal is to restore to health, to make well again, to restore to the original purity or integrity. Healing is the process in which a bad situation or painful emotion ends or improves. Some synonyms of healing are to cure, to treat, rehabilitate, fix, recover, and come back. Now, there's a quote on healing, and it's kind of relevant, especially with our guest coming today. It says that sometimes God has to put you in a temporary situation to prepare you for your permanent position, as well as freeing yourself was one thing. Claiming ownership of that freedom is another. So that's our word today is healing and heal.
Awesome, awesome. Indeed, it is. When we think about healing, we're going to talk about that today. Do enjoy that word. So thank you for that word of today, Minister. And we're going to get deeper into that right after this commercial break.
What do all these people have in common besides a beautiful smile, healthy teeth, and gums? They all use Zadi toothpaste. Zadi toothpaste is made with all natural ingredients. Zadi toothpaste is fortified with moringa and baking soda. Zadi toothpaste is suds-free, making it an excellent choice for kids. All natural, fortified, and suds-free. Get yours today at noystore.com.
All right. So welcome back. As mentioned before, we are getting into our main topic of the today, which that main topic is beyond the walls, rebuilding life on the outside. And we will be joined today by a special guest, Brother Yikazikia. And I do have the privilege of introducing this brother here. We go way back. I remember first meeting this brother. I always felt like he was a unique brother. He stood out, and it was just something about this brother here that stood out to me. And I always tried to, I was at one of those moments in my life, being a young man. I was early 20s, right? No, I think we were probably a teen, like
Teenagers,
late,
maybe,
yeah,
huh?
about 19. Maybe about 19 or 20, maybe about 19 or 20. And I remember, I'm an alpha male, he an alpha male. And I always thought, I knew the way. I had the path, of, just of what was right. And this brother came and shared something with me that was so deep, it just put me on another path. And I have appreciated him all the way up until this day now, the path that he put me on. And it wasn't so much of him, it was the Most High, it was the Creator, but he used him. And I think he has used him throughout these last probably 30 years or so, being in the tomb to reach other brothers that was in there and to direct and guide them. This brother has truly, walked through the shadow of death. How the scripture says, Psalms 33, though I walk through the shadow of death, this brother has done it. And he has used the tools that the Most High Yahweh has given him to make it through this. And, with and I just, I can go on and on about this brother here. He's spiritual. I like to say that he's a minister, but he's truly a dear brother, and I just want to welcome him to the show today. Let's welcome brother Yika Ezekiel. Some know him by 140.
Greetings. Shalom. How you doing, brother?
Hey, shalom, 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 brother. I'm doing pretty good. The minister here with me as well.
Shalom and welcome, brother. It is definitely a pleasure to have you with us today, as we actually begin season 5,
episode one. Yes, indeed.
So we look forward to you joining us today to bring your energy, as well as your story, that which you want to share. So looking forward to it.
Yes, sir, indeed. So my brother, I kind of did a small intro. I don't know if you was on and kind of heard the small intro I did, but just to kind of let the audience know who you are, just share with the audience.
Well, as the brother said, my Hebrew name is Yisha Ezekiel, but most people know me as Flight 140, and from the streets. I just recently was released from prison after doing a couple of decades. And in that process, I was able, as the brother said, to be able to go from a mindset of an animal or a beast of the field where you lived on the lowest level. But I began to read, and the information that I began to inculcate was able to turn my mentality around to where I began to exhibit morality and ethics in my behavior, and that became a path to be able to explore new ways of life beyond the hood, to be able to see that we live on a big planet and that you would have to have a certain character to be able to interact with different people on that planet. So that's the path that I've been walking on, due to the teachings of the Milba Yahweh and Yahweh. And that's where I'm at this day. Just glad to be free.
Yes, sir. Indeed. Well, you always been free, brother. Let's just let the chains off. You know that, bro.
Correct.
Because you at a point in your life, and I just I have to talk about my experience in you and I, because we go back 1994, 95, somewhere around there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's been a journey, and that same freedom, when I was in the tomb, came upon me when I was introduced to the knowledge. It's like those chains that was on me just broke. You get what I'm saying? So I know you've been free the whole time, and it just is Yahweh's will that you're in the position that you're in right now to take it even further than where he had you at that moment. So that's kind of going back, just thinking about, your daily life, just coming into the tomb, what it was like. What's your mentality, at that point of your life?
Well, I was at a stage that, being young like that right there and being a gangster, the only thing on your mind was, continuing the legacy that you was trying to create on a negative polarity. You came into an atmosphere that was, as you say, nothing but alpha males. And this atmosphere was built to destroy you physically as well as mentally. So you just wanted to find your place to be able to thrive and flourish in that right there. So you may have felt you had to be more aggressive. You had to be more ferocious than everybody else to move yourself from the bottom of the food chain to the top of the food chain. And then you came in with the mindset that you know you have all this time. So in the beginning, I never thought that, physical release was even possible. I couldn't see that far down the line because I knew my mindset and what my path was finna be while I was in there. You come in the attitude, you hear the stories about how dudes disrespectful and everything that's in prison. So when you getting ready to go there, you already got your mind made. Or if they try me, or if they come at me this way, I'm gonna react in this manner. So you know you had to be more violent than everybody else in order to earn that level of respect to where you ain't gonna have no more issues. So it was a whole new world. You know, that society right there, like I said, is created to crush you. You know, there's no intellectual programs to help you alter your mentality. So if you don't develop a self program and become autodidactic, then your mentality is going to get worse because you're going to meet people from different cities that hustle different ways, and you're going to extract what they got and implement it into your arsenal. And now you're going to think you're a super criminal. And this is the reason the revolving door is so great with dudes coming in and out of prison because there's nothing set up to be able to change their mindset from being, you know, thugs, being gangsters, being the king of the hood. So if you don't develop that on your own, then you're gonna consciously stay on that path. And like I said, you're gonna be worse because the more information that you gather, you know, people emulate their atmosphere. And when you're around all that steel, barbed wire, and concrete, not only physically but mentally, then that's what you begin to become. That's the tune that's being played. So people gonna dance to that particular melody because that's all that they're hearing. So for me, that was the mindset that I had. Luckily, I was able to escape that right there by bumping into a brother that was able to expose me to the teachings of the Alpha Yahweh Ben Yahweh, and I was able to turn my mindset around. So as the scripture said, you know, being a modern day Lazarus, you was mentally dead, carnal, worldly, secular, but then you met the king and he blew the breath of life into you and gave you that wisdom that was able to exalt you to live life on a higher plane. So now when people see you, you know, they see that light, they see that aura that's saying that, hey, this man is somebody that I need to gravitate toward and be able to help me reach the next level in my life. So I'm just always eternally grateful for Sabian Yahweh Yahweh for being able to come and give me that wisdom to take me out of that animalistic mentality and put me on a path to be a righteous reflection and to be able to magnetize the planet.
No, that's deep, brother.
Well,
Go right ahead,
yeah,
minister.
my brother. First, if we already hadn't said it, if I hadn't said it, I definitely want to say it loud and clear. Um, Welcome home. Um, it's a pleasure to have you back amongst the land of the living,
Mm,
and it is truly a testimony um, for the amount of time that you did to be able to come out, not just with a sound body, but more specifically to have a sound mind.
yes.
Because you said a lot for those who were listening or who might have broke past over what that the system is designed to do. And I'm sure you can testify about this even as we get more, but most get into that system of the walls and the steel, but it's not physical. It becomes a mental, and that revolving, they become a part of that system, and they don't see a way out. It's almost like they become a part of that concrete.
Right.
They become a part of that steel. They become that barbed wire. So even if they make it back, um, it's like now you've become animalistic, and you can't walk amongst
Can't
living
function.
people.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to ask is because I heard this and it was like from the beginning that you got a lot of time from a young age. Did you get that much time in the beginning, or have you ever had any experience or that led up to it, or were you one that just unfortunately got snagged with all that time at one time?
Yes, you know, that was the first time I had ever been locked up.
Mm,
So
Wow.
yeah, that's crazy.
I was given that time right out the gate. So that's why I said in the beginning, I wasn't farsighted enough to realize that there was going to be an end. So you live your life according to, okay, there's no rules. I'm going to be the king of this particular jungle right here. And that's the mindset that I had in the beginning. But like I say, it took new information to be able to alter that mentality because if not, there's no doubt I wouldn't be here today. You know, and as you said, my track record in the beginning, the first decade in there is terrorist material. if you was to let the guards speak of it.
Mm.
But like I say, I was able to change. So I'm always gonna be grateful for that, to have that
So you
opportunity
you
now.
sound like you got in and became a part of the system. But and I heard
Well,
you mention it, and it sounded like because it's supposed to be a place. First of all, like we was talking about healing, it's supposed to be rehabilitation. Now, people say it, but since you lived it, is it designed to rehabilitate us when we go there?
absolutely not. As I said, there's no curriculum set up to be able to change the mind. You come in there against a thug, a hood, and there's nothing to alter that right there. So rehabilitation, the process of that right there is to change you. Like you said, healing by definition means to free you from guilt, to free you from troubles, or to free you from evil. So there's no program to free you from evil. We know evil means wickedness, iniquities, nefarious, malicious, diabolical mentalities, liars, haters, malignity. There's no program to alter me. So if I went to an office and I said, "Excuse me, sir, but I'm mendacious. I'm a habitual liar. I don't want to be this anymore. Can you help me change?" There was no program that they could give me that would alter that way of thinking. So rehab never occurs in the prison system. They call themselves the Department of Corrections. Corrections, the root word is correct. Correct. First definition in any dictionary tells you to change that which is wrong into that which is right. So there's a process to this transformation, and they don't have that process. Neither do they implement that process. And if you come with the process, then you're in opposition to them. It's similar to like Christ in the Bible. When he came teaching, raising the dead, open the eyes of the blind, then the people that were in authority were against that right there, because you're going against the system that we have already created. So you're literally taking money out of my pocket now. You're teaching the people to eat a particular diet. So now McDonald's, Burger King, the fast food restaurants are going out of business. So now they're in Congress, they're lobbying to the people that, hey man, we need people to buy these burgers. So if you're advocating stay away from the burgers, then you become the enemy of those people. So yeah, that system is created to be a fueling machine. Even now, it's still one of the biggest and fastest growing industries in America,
Yep.
especially within the private sector. So they need bodies to be able to fuel this machine. So how do you get bodies? You create atmospheres, you create neighborhoods that have impoverished resources. So now that's going to force me, because Yahweh gave every creature two things: the ability to feed itself and the ability to defend itself. So if you're starving physically, then you're going to go out and do whatever you can to eat. Even the book tell you, don't despise a thief if he's still because he was hungry.
Right.
You expect this man to do what he need to do in order to survive. So in this atmosphere, you're going to have to do that. And you're doing that in the midst of thousands of other men with the same mentality. So as I said, you have to be able to do something that's going to cause you to stand out. And the rehab is not what they want, because then if you rehab everybody that's coming to prison, then there will be no more prisons. And how many people will be out of jobs?
Yeah.
Right.
The light company, the water company, people fight for the development of a prison in their communities because they know that brings job. It's like when the Super Bowl comes to People's City, it influxes the economy. Prison system do the same thing, so they need bodies there. So they're not going to create a curriculum that will alter you and bring you from a dead mentality to a live mentality. That would be taking money out of their pockets, and they built this business for a profit, not to be losing money.
And they steadily trying to build more, because prisons are a profitable institution. So so it's like they talk about stopping you. You don't truly want to stop crime. You want to pass laws so you can get people to break the law, and then you can put them in an institution that's profitable.
Right.
If you rehabilitated the people, they won't be able to come back. But fortunately, you were able to find a way out, because there's always light in darkness. So fortunately, you were able to find some light that caused you to turn, which is a good thing. Everybody don't get that opportunity, or it's before them, but but because of the system, like you say, when you, if you got two alpha males, it's like a jungle. If you put two lions in a pit and you put one deer, what's going? Something finna happen in that situation.
Yeah.
Something go what? That situation is designed for disaster.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to, if you ask me, it goes back to slavery. You know, if you brought two black males together and they fought to death. You know, if you put us in a system, because you think about it, the so-called black man make up what 13% of the population here in America.
They say, yeah,
but at the same time, over 70% of the prison population. So what that tells you at that time, like what my brother's saying, and I'm finna get back to you, even with the hospitals, you know, it's designed to be reactive to whatever condition that occurred instead of being proactive. So this whole system, when we talk about this whole system, it goes to what he's saying, you know, it wasn't designed to, you know, rehabilitate us. It wasn't designed for that. That's why the recidivism, the recidivism rate is so high when it comes to black males returning back to that system. We're gonna talk about this because I know he want to talk about this here, but
it's designed for that.
It's designed,
and it works,
and it does. But we have to just be conscious of it, and that's what this brother is talking about right now. Just becoming mindful of that. So, what are some of the resources being inside of it? Because you made this change, you became conscious of this here. Why everybody else didn't come conscious of this here? So what were some of those resources that you used that got you to the mindset that you are in right now today?
It was only one thing that was able to change my mentality, and that was I wanted to get out of prison.
I think that'll
Straight
help.
up. I wanted to get out, and I knew I had to think my way out. So in order to do that, I had to change my mindset. So the only resources that I had was what people have in the beginning of any civilization, is knowledge and wisdom. So you begin to read, you become an erudite, and the information that you find in these books, you know, you learn how to apply that right there. Because they, like I said, they don't create a program for you. And even if they did, there's restrictions of it. When you have so much time, they are not going to let you in any type of program due to the fact that they don't feel that it's beneficial for you to learn something that you're never going to be able to apply. So they will rather put somebody with short time in that place because they'll be able to use it. So a man has to create his own intellectual program in order to be able to alter his mentality. And luckily for me, like I say, I ran into some men whose mind was on bettering themselves. And it started with that right there, developing your own character to a degree. So in the beginning, for me, it was like, okay, if I can learn how to manipulate people, if I can learn how to be able to persuade people or induce people to my way of thinking, then I might can talk somebody into, you know, bringing me a uniform or helping me escape. So that was my way of thinking in the beginning. I just wanted to get out of prison. I didn't like that atmosphere, and I knew, you know, that was the only way out. So I really began to think that, okay, I have to think my way out. And thinking, like I said, for me, was found in books because that's all you had. You know, we thinking back in the 90s before all the technology. So all they allowed you in prison was books. So you had to be able to read. And we know as a people, that's a lost art among us. We don't understand, you know, what reading does to the brain. But back then, that was my mainstay, being able to read. But as I began to read, the purpose of what I initially got in it for began to alter. Because when I went to studying history, when I went to studying certain historical figures and went to seeing their struggles, like, okay, like the brother spoke about slavery. You know, when you look in different countries, you know, that had what they call communist countries, these people raising up certain leaders among their community to better the condition of the whole country. So when I went to seeing it from that perspective, I went to realize it ain't about me no more. The information that I learn now, I can be able to give it to the people that have no knowledge of this right here. which was the mass majority of people that was in my circle.
Mm.
So now they became my inspiration to better myself so that I could better them. So it's like if you hit the lottery for millions of dollars, you're not going to spend every dollar on you. You're going to break bread with everybody that's in your circle to help them better themselves. So, I learned that true wealth is wisdom.
Mm.
So I figured the more wisdom that I accumulated, the better the life for everybody that was in my circle. So that's what put me on a particular to develop a program to develop and grow my mind to a degree to where I can always help me better and everybody else.
So for just for the audience, because you sound very articulate. So I'm gonna ask you a question. Before, what age was you when you was incarcerated?
19.
Wow.
Did you graduate from high school?
No, sir.
Now, I'm not advocating for nobody to go to prison,
Mhm.
but what the thing is, a lot of times people don't think they can learn from their experiences. You an example of learning from your experience, being in a situation like what you was in, and accumulating the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding that you have accumulated over these years. There's programs that you have created while you was in the prison system that benefited and helped other brothers that was in there. You alluded to some of them. I don't know if you want to talk about others, but there's a lot of brothers that I have talked with that would mention you from whatever institution that they went to. I was just talking to one of my dear brothers this morning via text. I asked him, did he know you? He said, yes, good brother. Nobody have never said anything negative about you. So your character speaks for itself. When it comes to relationships, while you was inside, and I'm talking about more family relationships, what was that family and friend relationship like from the outside, that is?
Well, for me, my circle was very small. And because I had all the time that I was given in the beginning, and I had seen a few of my friends that had reached that point when I was free, I realized that I didn't want to keep a stronghold to the streets because I felt I wouldn't be able to be in two places at one time.
Mm.
So if you wasn't a part of my inner circle, then I killed and let the relationship go because I didn't want to be a burden on you. Because I knew I was going to do a lot of time, and I figured that that was going to eventually wear you off, and you was going to leave anyway.
Mhm.
But I didn't want it to be on no bitter note because you didn't invested all this time, energy, and money over the years, and it just wore you down. So I had a few friends and a few family members that always was there for me throughout my whole incarceration. So that was motivation for me to get and stay on the point because I didn't want to disappoint them
Okay.
from the work that they had and put in.
Okay. Um, Minister, before we get into, you had any other
Yeah,
questions
and
about?
it was so much, and you said some things, and I'm going back a little bit, like about reading and the age you went in. It sounded like you didn't acquire a love of reading before you went in, but that um, you found that love for reading once you got in. Because I'm gonna say this, like you apparently you figured out you can't punch your way out of these walls.
Right.
You can do that, but that's not gonna get you out. So you start looking for another alternative, and it seemed like you found that in reading and learning and studying, and then helping others with that.
Yes, sir. I learned that when I met the king,
Mhm.
his thing was study to show yourself approved.
Mm.
And we grew up in a culture where gangster rap was the theme at that time. And it hit me that you like certain rappers because of their delivery. Each rapper uses words. And when you look at these rappers, the words that they use in their lyrics, in their songs, on their albums, led and generated them to the wealth that they got. You go buy their album, they get a percentage of the money. So that's when I learned, like the light bulb clicked in my head, that words are the most powerful tool in existence
Okay.
because words earn money. Money don't earn words.
Mm.
But if you put your words together in a particular manner, it will bring you wealth. I went to looking at best-selling authors. I went to looking at encyclopedias, dictionaries, all of these books that people were buying. And on the pages, it was nothing but words. So it made me realize the more words you know, the better your life gonna be. So the king told me that you need to learn at least one word a day. If you can learn one word a day at the end of the year, you should be 365 times better than you was at the beginning of the year. So with my personal work ethic, I decided I'm gonna learn 5 words a day.
Okay.
That way I can outdo everybody. Because remember, the objective was to get out. So I figured the more words I knew, the more eloquent I could become. The more eloquent I could become, it'd be easier to persuade and induce people to do what I need them to do. So learning words was the best thing ever happened as far as being able to alter my mentality and put in life in perspective because it's through words that we express ourselves. You know, it says in the beginning was the word. So without words, nothing exists. So when you become the embodiment or the incarnation of that particular word right there, then you will be able to help humanity. And like I said, my thing was to better myself as well as those that were in my circle. So yeah, words became, the primary focus of my life. So that's
And that's
why
one.
now,
And I just want to say this because I know you're saying it, and we're very straightforward in this program, and there's people from all different walks of life. But it's like, see, your love and study of words. When you mention the king, I know you give what you're, just to be clear, you given the, it was Yahweh ben Yahweh, most honorable Yahweh ben Yahweh, who gave you that, who started you on your journey of words,
correct,
and from his teachings is how you were able to actually find your salvation through that.
correct, because he gave me the knowledge of self. He gave me an understanding of who I am, what I am, and how I can become whatever I choose to be.
Mm.
So he taught me that I create my own destiny, that I don't leave it up to somebody else. So that's where the self-discipline began to develop. Once I got that, then I realized I can do away with the authoritative discipline because that's what prison is set up for. The guards that run the prison, that's authoritative discipline. They telling you what to do, how to do, and all of this. I didn't like that. So if I discipline myself, I ain't got to worry about you disciplining me. You driving down the street, they got them lanes in the street.
Yeah.
You know, if you cross those lanes, then you subject to some type of punishment, whether you lose your life in a car accident or a limb, or you just get a ticket. So ain't nobody got to be right there in the passenger seat telling you, don't cross that lane, don't cross that lane. You have developed that self-discipline to know that I'm going to stay in my lane. So that was my thing because one of the synonyms of heal is, or the antonyms was sore, and sore synonym is harshness. And the harshness comes in your language, the way you speak. You know, there's a scripture that tells you grievous words stir up anger. And the manner that they speak to you as the prison guards to inmates is in a harsh manner because they have to feel, they have to show their authority. If they use a soft tongue, they feel that you're going to try to manipulate them or get over on them. So that's why I say that atmosphere is built to instill a rock-like mindset on negativity so that you can always continue to have that revolving door open. So that's why I say I'm so glad that I was able to meet the challenge that the long-headed Yahweh gave to me, because he was like, prove me wrong. If you can prove me wrong, then you'll be all right. So I set out on a journey to prove him wrong. And as you can see, decades later, I'm still representing.
That's a beautiful thing about it, right?
Right.
When they say prove me wrong, and then you find out that he was right.
Correct.
But did I cut you off, brother, or was you done?
No, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm just kind of I want to ask you this here. Are you upset with the system?
No, I'm not upset with the system, because I understand that when you create a system, it's to bring in the desires, the wishes, the urges of the person that designed the system. So everybody that becomes a part of that system, that's your job, to bring my vision into fruition. So since I didn't design the system, I have no right to be upset with the people who designed it. I don't get mad at a Ferrari because it don't got Lambo doors on it.
Exactly.
They didn't make it like that. So my thing is not to be angry about your world. My thing is to look at your world and, like a baby, extract what I need out of the world that's good. Leave all what I believe is foolishness behind in the world, and then create my own system. Because that child, when it's inside the womb, it takes the food, it takes the thoughts of the mother, and it begins to shape its own independent system inside that placenta, so it can develop itself, so that when it comes out of that womb, now it can function on its own and no longer need her. That's why they cut that umbilical cord. I got what I needed from you. Now I can build my own system. So that was my thing, to be able to see this system from the inside and see the rottenness of it. So now create a system that's antithetical to that right there. So you'll know what not to implement, because you've seen what they implemented that's creating the foolishness and developing the mindsets that leading the people on the path of destruction. You look at America, it's supposed to be the most enlightened society on the planet. But you look at the stats. We lead all nations in over-the-counter drugs. Why? We lead all nations in back pain. Why? We have more diseases, as you said. The hospitals are there because they know that they feeding you a bad diet that's going to cause you to get sick, and you're going to take the medicine, and now you got to come up. So I'm not upset with their system because it's theirs. I'm upset when people complain about that system, but yet are doing nothing to create a system to do away with that system. When you look at the Messiah, he said he's coming to do away with a system that has been set up and create his own system. And everybody in the world that's religious is joyful and blissful, waiting on that day to occur. We waiting on the king, we waiting on our Messiah or whatever to come back to set up his kingdom. Okay, but what are you doing to set up your kingdom now to change the conditions of your life? You can't sit back and wait on somebody else to do that right there. You're able-minded. You're competent enough to be able to create your own world. So that's my focus. I don't spend my time on, worrying about what they're doing, because they're doing what they was created to do. I have to do what I was created to do. And I think that's the issue. People are not creating the world that they want to live in. They spend too much time just complaining about the one that they don't.
Well,
and I'm almost see, because it's something that you said, and I heard and from a spiritual standpoint, and I heard it say about the word, and words are important, but spiritually, you have a physical side, you have a spiritual side. So the word becoming flesh, meaning the words have to become flesh. See, people, and I'm just elaborating on what you said. I like to make it clear. See, a lot of time we're waiting on a savior. We're waiting on a Messiah, or we're complaining about the system. When the word says the word was made flesh, and if you want to say 2,000 years ago, the word was made flesh, that was true. But that same word is here today, and the word has to become flesh. And we pray, most of us, if we pray a prayer, it says, let thy will be done, which is a commandment for you to make it happen. Now, I can hear you talking about the word and about reading. There's a system, especially for young black men. A lot of them come out uneducated. But when I listen to you speak and I hear the words that you articulate, you sound very educated. But you didn't get your education from the system. The system has the opportunity for you there, but a lot of us don't get what we need out of that system. You said instead of doing a word, you said five words.
Yeah.
So instead of you being 360 times better at the end of a year, that means you 1,500 times better in a year because your character has now increased. And that's and I'm only saying it because what you're doing is you're trying to show there's a living example of how someone can go through, for those who want to be spiritual, they go through the belly of the beast. So Jonah, now you can get spit up by the well, and when you get spit up, you can just be dung, or you can get in the belly of the beast, and you can come out walking as a living being and make a change. But that choice is up to you, because you did recidivism. I'm messing that word up. That revolving door, it can be there. But when you're conscious and your eyes are open, you see that door. And you see the way out of that door is by increasing who you are and making a change. So I'm just saying that was a powerful testimony, because the system is not designed to rehabilitate. You got to rehabilitate yourself.
Right. And just to go back, the reason why I asked that question is so many of us, like you say, the recidivism rate of us returning back because we're angry with the system. You so eloquently said, the reason why you was not angry with the system, because we have to acknowledge our responsibility. If we want to change, then we need to seek to make that change ourselves. I love the way you put that. That was so beautifully said. And we have to come to the understanding that change starts within us, and we can't look outside of ourselves.
Yep.
It starts with us. We have to understand that we are that change. And it's just going back when we talk about, the Messiah coming in the flesh. We have to understand that when we take on that knowledge, wisdom, understanding, when we take on those words, in the beginning was the word, we taking on his image.
Yes.
We taking on his body. And a lot of people, because we so busy looking up at the sky, looking for salvation that way, we forget that salvation is within ourselves. And so coming back to my brother, the reason I asked that, because there's so many brothers out there that's angry with the system, and it caused them to get right back into the same ways that they was in before. Have you come across that?
Yes, I see so many. I mean, I'm gonna say like 98% of the people that's in prison, they have a rage because they feel that the system, meaning the government now, are against black people. The government ain't giving me the same opportunities that they give other ethnicities or nationalities. So that rage is there. And they're doing nothing to alter that rage on their own. They're not taking accountability that, okay, yeah, this system was not created for you. By now, most black people know about slavery. They know that this system was put into place to keep you at a certain mental, financial, spiritual, domestic level. Cool. Now, what are you going to do about it?
Yes.
Our problem is we can sit and we can come to a square table and discuss the problems, but yet nobody has implemented solution to these problems within the prison system amongst themselves. So they whine about it, they murmur about it, but they're doing nothing as an individual to change their condition. So I'm always blame, man, if they would do this, I wouldn't have to do this. So there's no accountability on my part. And this is why that revolving door keeps revolving. And as you said earlier, this is why they're constantly throwing up more prisons.
Yep.
Because the stats show that you're going to come back because you don't want to take accountability of your behavior, what you did wrong as an adult. With free thinking, you have the ability. They're giving you the resources, especially now in prison, they got tablets.
Mm-hmm.
So they have access to information that.
Say that again. I want you to be real clear.
Yes, they have tablets that allow them to have information now that wasn't privy to us 15, 20, 25 years ago. We live in the information age.
So it's not
there's no excuse.
It was a little bit harder because you had to get books.
Correct. That means you had to wait on somebody to go to a store when they got time, to get a check when they got paid, and they had some free money to send you a book. Now they're giving inmates tablets. They're giving them different apps that allow them to learn different things. But instead of using the tablet to build up my mental qualities, I want to listen to Lil Wayne all day. I want to play video games on it all day. But then I want to turn around and, man, the system holding me back. That's impossible. They have given you every opportunity to become an intellectual giant in there because you're locked in. You spend anywhere from 20 to 21 hours a day locked inside a dormitory. What are you doing with that time? If you're spending all that time on entertainment, on TV, on just sitting around gossiping with your partners, then how could you say the system is holding you down? That's impossible. It's you holding you down because you're doing nothing to transform your way of thinking, because it was your way of thinking that got you there. So that ain't work. Let me alter. Let me try something new that may yield the same results that I was trying to get on a negative polarity. So now I can develop a skill set. I can watch different podcasts and learn different things, so that when I do get out, now I got some new information that I can try to apply. I got a new way of trying to earn in a living. I got a new way of trying to acquire the materialism that I want in my life. Like I tell brothers, the streets is always going to be there. Long as there is an America, there's going to be guns, there's going to be drugs.
Yep.
So that's always going to be there as an option. However, you want to give yourself multiple options to be able to succeed in this life without going to the streets, because the streets bring too much with it in order to get where you want to be. So it's the individuals. And like I said, at least 98% of them don't do nothing to build up their minds while they're in there. They just become zombies. And the system was created for that, and that's the tune that they dance to.
Yes, sir. Well, I hear some music, so that means we're about getting ready to go to a
break.
Yes, sir.
I'll say that question and comment till we come back then.
So we'll go to a commercial break, but we're going to continue this topic. We normally go into some breaking news, but after this commercial break, we're going to continue this topic. All right, we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Joe, and I'm an enrolled agent with Scott & Associates accounting firm. As you can see, we work diligently for our clients, making sure that all of their tax and accounting needs are met. Come take a walk with me.
At Scott & Associates, we pride ourselves in providing exceptional service to our clients. We firmly stand behind all of the work that we do. However, we have also put measures in place to protect our clients should something ever go wrong.
To schedule a tax appointment for your business or personal need, text or call us today at 321-754-1360. And remember, you can always count on Scott.
Because Scott & Associates always treats me like family, I refer my family to them. So when preparing for my taxes and I know exactly what to bring in coming in, it makes the process so much easier. Anyone should hire Scott & Associates because they are professional, respectful, and very knowledgeable. And with all of my heart, I can always count on them.
All right, welcome back. So we normally would go to our breaking news, but we want to continue this conversation because, Brother Ezekiel, you definitely gonna have to come back on another show. We definitely gonna have to get you back on another show. But Minister, go ahead.
Because the reason, one of the main reasons for Live Talk is we want this to be a platform, like you say, for solutions. Mm-hmm. It's easy. Our people are very eloquent when it comes to talking about the problem, mm-hmm. but we're not as eloquent when we come to talk about the solutions. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons is something that you said is we don't like to take that personal responsibility. Mm. We take that responsibility here. And this is why, Brother Ezekiel, it's so great to have you here. It's because there are a lot of young men who, and that's what this platform, and this is why we need you here. Mm-hmm. Because they'll say, oh, you don't know what it's like. Right. You can't tell me. Mm-hmm. Because see, some of us, my history go back, yet they see me and you now and say, we don't get it. Right. No, but see, you were there, you lived it, right, experienced it, and you're not on the other side, and you can be a living testimony to the actual reality of what it takes. Mm-hmm. So see, they can't say to you that, no, you the system and you the man. No, you the one that came through the system, and now you are the man that they should be looking to become because you have a lived experience. And that's what's so important, that now we have a living testimony of you can make this change, but there's some things you have to do. Right. And you may not want to listen to me. You may not want to listen to mama. But it's good that they can see black men and they can talk. But it's really important when they can see a black man who actually came through it. Mm-hmm. And like I said in the beginning, not just with sound body, but came out with sound mind, because you speak very eloquently. Mm-hmm. And I've met some who've been in for a lot less time than you, and their vocabulary is like elementary. Mm-hmm. Because they didn't do any work on themselves, and you telling the importance of working on yourself, and that's why it's important to have a living witness, if I want to call it that way.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, that's extremely important, because when you've been through circumstances or situations that the youth or other people may be headed down toward, they'll be more apt to listen to you than they would people who have never traveled down that path. Right. Because they figure y'all have like minds. Yeah. So your words, they'll give an audience to. So you may be able to open the eyes of some of them, because they'll listen to you as opposed to those, that they already think fell out the sky or something. They know you came from the bottom where they came from. And as you say, if you can be a witness to them that, hey, even though you're headed down this path, even though you have made mistakes and made some bad choices in life, that doesn't have to define who you are. You can overcome that. You can surpass that. You can begin to make changes to better yourself and to become whatever you choose to be. That's the greatest gift that Yahweh has given humanity. Our minds are ever evolving. So I don't have to become stagnant at where I'm at when I made a particular bad choice or mistake in my life. I can always supersede that right there because I can extract the lesson from that mistake. Therefore, I won't have to repeat it again. So I'm armoring myself now with new wisdom. So all my future endeavors, I'll be able to draw off of that particular experience and be able to make the right choices now and become that example. Because some people may not know you on a physical basis or on a friendly basis, but as they're watching your character, then they're learning what they should and should not do. It's like the old commercial that when I was growing up, they said you could learn a lot from a dummy. So now you're using yourself as the human dummy to be able to show them a path of or a way to walk after they fall down, how to get up, that you don't have to stay in that mud, that you can clean yourself up. And there's no limit to what you want to do because there's no limit to how much information your brain can intake.
You know, I talk to a lot of brothers that been down for a while, been in the tune for a good little while, and well, let me rephrase that. Our intent, being inside, and I'm gonna speak on this, and I'm pretty sure some of the brothers' intent, being inside, they had good intentions to come out and do all the right things. You know, we spiritualize ourselves in there, you know, to make sure that we're mentally strong, so that we can cope with certain things, like how my brother shared. But how does that translate into now re-entering back into the world? Because now you have to take that spiritual knowledge and you have to apply it to a physical circumstance.
Yep.
And I think that has been a challenge with a lot of our brothers leaving the system, coming back out into the real world and trying to make that work. Because what's the reality? See, it's almost like coming into the reality of things now. So what is that like?
That is the hardest transformation there is. And that's why that revolving door is constantly revolving. I was just speaking with a close friend last night about this. You have what I call theories while you're in prison. Man, when I get out, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do all of these things. I'm going to become all of this right here. These are the theories that you develop of how you want your life to go. But the moment you step outside that gate, now reality sets in. You don't have the resources that you thought you was going to have, whether it be the manpower or whether it be the financial aspect of it. Most of us are come from communities to where when we get out, we have to go live with somebody. Right. So now we have to get a job. We may not have a skill set to get a job that can pay us enough to bring that theory into reality. So that's why it's easy to get back on into the streets. Yep. Because we know if we get in the streets, man, I can make in one day what I'm making in a week on this job.
Yep.
That's that skill set.
Quickly. Right?
Correct. So the reality is harsh, extremely. That's why I say there needs to be a system in place among men, like in the federal place. When you get out of a federal prison, you don't go from the feds to the streets. You go to a halfway house. And they slowly introduce you back to society. You get a job. You have a place to live. You clock in. You pay bills at this halfway house. So that's slowly teaching you the mannerism of being a man. But in the state, no matter how much time you get, when they kick you out cold turkey. So if you have not learned on your own how to survive in the real world, it's going to be a serious challenge. I know for me, the whole world was different. and it's still different. I'm learning every day. You know, I left the streets, everybody had beepers. Now everybody got phones.
Yeah.
So everything is an adjustment,
Hey,
learning how to
there's
live.
no phone booths on the corner no more.
And this
Right,
generation don't know about a beeper.
Say, what's a beeper?
correct.
What's a phone booth?
Right. So learning to live again and not having adequate resources will automatically put a person on the defensive.
Yeah.
And then now they're going to survival mode.
Right.
And they're going to fall back on the skill set that they have,
Yep.
which is whatever they was doing in the streets.
Mm.
And if they haven't developed that self-discipline to be able to go and get a job, but then when you go apply for a job, they look at your criminal history, and depending on what type of charges you had, they don't want to hire you. So a man may have patience, but patience going to have an end. So if he's keep trying to get himself a job and he's constantly having doors slammed in his face, and then at the same time, the people that he's dealing with or living with is like, hey man, you're a man. You got to bring certain things to the table as a man. You got to be a provider first for yourself. And then some of these men may have children. So now their pride getting in the way that they can't feed their family the way they thought they was. Somebody may have promised them things. When they got out, those promises fell through. So now they didn't have a plan B. So the reality is it's cold. It's cold. And if a man, like I said, doesn't have that self-discipline within himself, that no matter what, I'm gonna beat the odds, because being out here is a billion times better than being in there. I tell people all the time, I have never had a bad day. Never going to have a bad day, no matter what occurs, because it's nothing compared to where I was at. So you just got to have that fortitude, and you got to have that mindset that no matter what occurs in this life, because we're looking at the weather today, it's letting us know it ain't gonna always be a sunny day. It's gonna rain sometimes,
Right.
it's gonna snow sometimes. So you can't give up because the weather is not 75, 80 degrees.
Yep.
So the weather in life, you're gonna always have ups and downs. And if you don't have that mindset to be able to deal with it, then it's going to be easy for you to say, well, okay, I tried. I went to a few places, filled out a few applications. That didn't work. I'm tired of my sister, my cousin, my brother telling me that I need to pay some kind of bill and do some, stop being a bum. So the negative in language from the very people that's supposed to be closest to him and uplifting him, those are the ones that push him. Or he may get with a particular Eve and she be like, hey, I need this, this, and this. And now he's back trying to do what he can to provide for his relationship. So that's why I say I would think that the best thing is to create a program to where dudes that may not have the resources can come to and get the resources. As y'all said a couple episodes back about the trades and how people are being forced to try to go to college instead of getting the trades that make society run.
Mhm.
Having something to where people can develop apprenticeships so that they can develop a trade to be able to feed themselves.
Yep.
So it's a difficult transition if you don't have the correct support system. And most of us that are coming out of these places don't have that, beyond somebody saying, yeah, you can come sleep in my house. You know, they don't have a car. And in
Yep.
this day and age, you got to be mobile, because if you get a job, you got to get back and forth. You don't want to spend all your job money on an Uber or catching a bus, or if you're in a small city, the bus may not go where you at.
Buses
So
don't
you
do
need
it.
a car.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to be mobile. You know, you need certain things. And if you don't have the resources to get it, then how you gonna be upset for me trying to go back to the streets to feed myself when Nobody else wants to feed me. I'm not gonna sit here and starve to death. Then you're gonna think that I'm a foolish person because I sat there and starved to death. Nobody's gonna do that. Like I say, nature has innately put within us the ability to feed ourselves. So if you don't give me the correct, proper, and right outlet to make that a reality, then don't wonder why you look up and I'm on breaking news. Got the Walmart hostage.
Yep.
You put my back against the wall. You know, you look at one of the movies I like to equate with this situation is the John Q movie.
I remember that.
When you took a hard-working man all his life and you put his back up against the wall and you forced him to become something that he by nature was not. And that's the situation when people are getting out of prison without adequate resources.
Yeah.
And since the system knows that right there, that's why they know we can build another prison because you'll be back.
That's why that recidivism rate is so high amongst
Correct.
our community, because we don't have the resources, or if we do have the resources, we don't know where to go and get it from.
But something you said real important, because we're talking solutions. As tough as it is, see some of the tools that you need, and you pointed them out. And I'm gonna say them again because you said them was, he not blaming the system.
Right.
That's a tool.
Yeah, it is.
And the rage.
Because that you have to get rid of that anger.
Got to get rid of that rage and anger against the system, because those are strikes against you. Because you know you're coming out, especially if you've been that low, you got a felony. So it's only certain type jobs you can get. But if you, that's why we working on these trades, because in a lot of the trades, you'll hire somebody, and that's what we as a community have to understand. Because somebody may have a history, that don't mean that they're not a good person.
Right.
But the first thing you look for is they're not blaming the system. They ain't got rage. That's somebody I can try opportunity on, which was a big step. Because if you don't have the resources, you got to be able to get access to them. But by blaming the system and having rage, and then not building up your character, is ways to get you back in that door. If there's like he said, then the federal, which I give them a small pat on the back, because they do the halfway.
Yeah.
Because I had a relative that came out, and I was able to give him a job and to give him somewhere to stay while he can learn the trade. But if you're in the state, like he said, you get thrown to the wolves. And if you come out blaming the system and you still got rage and you got a mark, those are strikes against you. The streets are waiting for you. The key is to know, I'm not going back to the street. So I got to start preparing early, because the street, like you say, it's not going to go anywhere. It's always there.
Right. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because we are getting to the end of the show. We always want to talk about solutions. And one of the other things he said, like having a program for brothers come out to provide those resources, like you mentioned, and being able to channel your emotions when it comes to it. Because if you can't get past the rage or the anger, you can't focus on what the solution is. And that's another way to get you right back into the same situation. I want to ask this though, being in there, the 3 decades that you was in there, like as far as job that, because I know there are jobs that you do inside. Were there any jobs that associated with some type of trade that you did inside, or that you see happening inside of the institution?
Absolutely not. They vet you when you come through there, and you have a certain amount of time. Then they're not going to allow you, like in the early 90s when they had the trades, they wouldn't allow you to have it, because again, they figured, why get this trade to a dude that got all this time that may not be able to use it, when I can give it to a short timer that can use it? And then over the years, they took the trades, because they became conscious that some of these people ain't coming back because they got a trade. So let's eliminate the trades. Let's eliminate the self-help programs. So now you have done all this time and you come out with no trade, no skill set. So you are primed to do what? To be able to feed yourself. Go back to what you was doing.
Right.
You coming out into an advanced technology world. and without a skill set. So what are you going to do?
We do want to make sure that we, I think with the career resources, they have incentives for those that come out of prison for employers to hire them and bring them on.
Right.
Is there certain resources like that that we need to make available? So for our, so brothers, and sisters, we can't forget our sisters. They
Right.
incarcerated as well.
Yep.
Make those resources available. And I'm going to look up some of those resources. I know speaking with one of the sisters that worked there, and she had mentioned it to me before, but I do want to bring some of those resources to the forefront, because what they do in the system, they have these programs that they want the inmates to get out into, but a lot of these programs are geared to either a religion that they want to try to convert you into, or something similar to that.
Right.
You find a lot of them that's doing that. It's not real resources that can really help the individual get back into society without some type of converting them to something.
Yep.
And I think we have to come up with ways that I think moral ways. I mean, I think it's always good that we can educate the brothers and sisters that are coming out in a way that they can change their mindset from being angry to understanding that there is a solution to your issue, to your problem. But we all have to understand that, even those that have not went to prison, because sometimes those that haven't been inside can look down on those that have been inside and not know their circumstances, and really don't commit to coming up with systems or programs that can benefit and help those that are coming out to integrate back into society and become a productive citizen. So it's things like that we have to just be mindful of, and like you said, we try to look for solutions and things of that nature that we can add to our platforms, to our programs, so that people can have access to those resources. Is there anything else, Minister, you want to share? You want to share Ezekiel? Because we're getting back to the point to close out the show.
I just want to say, I definitely would want you to come back, because I think we started this conversation, but we definitely want to come back and at least try to go full circle with it.
Oh yeah, we have a lot. We have bruh, it's a lot more that we have. You know that, because you and I would talk, Ezekiel. I mean, it's other. I got a lot of questions for you, bro. I just know we weren't gonna be able to touch on. Yeah, I know I was, and my engineer let me know right now that we're getting short on time, but I know we wasn't going to be able to touch on everything. But I would love it if you can come back on to the show, because we'd love to have you.
Yes, sir. Anytime. This is what's needed. Exchange the information to be able to help each other grow.
Yes, sir. Indeed. Yep. Well, with that being said, Brother Ezekiel, I'll let you sign off pretty much. We first and foremost, we want to thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely want to thank you for allowing me to be here and having an opportunity to speak.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is it any way that, for people to contact you? Are you on social media, anything like that?
No, I don't have any of that.
Okay. Well,
I got to learn how to set all that up.
You'll be back on that show, so they'll get used to you.
They can reach them through live talk. We'll be able to find a way to get that communication.
Right, indeed. Okay. All right, Minister, you want to go ahead and sign off?
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm gonna leave it on a high note, and it's a spiritual thing. How we say that the Son, we say Yahweh and Yahweh. Some say Christ. The Son came to open up the prison houses. I want to say that there's a living testimony on the screen right now. that his son did come and open up the prison houses, and he brought one of his sons through that fire.
You're right.
And he wasn't burned because you can listen to his voice. And what I hear is wisdom, I hear knowledge, and I hear love for someone who they tried to beat down, but they were not able to beat him down. So all I'm saying is it's real.
Right.
Living testimony.
I tell you, Psalms 23, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, this brother have walked through the valley of the shadow of death. And it's so beautiful because, the knowledge, wisdom, understanding that he received through the process is just a testimony to what one can accomplish when they put their mind or when they exercise Isaiah 26:3. So, but as the host, I do want to leave us with this. It's a motivational quote, and it's freedom isn't merely the absence of change, a chain that is, but the discovery of purpose, even after the darkness of prisons. Hope can ignite a fire that burns brighter than any cell. So we have to look at the brighter side of things. And one of the things that he mentioned, I'd rather be on this side than that side.
Yes.
So I like to say from the host, peace and prosperity. And from Live Talk, we are out.
Thank you for watching Live Talk. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Live Talk Orlando. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit on the notification button so that you can see more videos like this. You want to join the show? Email us at livetalkorl@gmail.com. You can also follow the host on Facebook and Instagram at Arthur Jeremiah. And visit the website, thenoystore.com, to pick up your copy of The Spiritual Significance of a Name.